And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today I'm going to talk about a classic game, the game Robo Rally. Robo Rally was designed by Richard Garfield. In fact, he designed Magic the Gathering way back when so that it would provide Wizards of the Coast with enough money so that they could provide the game he really wanted to design, Robo Rally. As it turned out, Magic was a somewhat more popular game. But Robo Rally is a great game. It's been around in many generations. While Wizards of the Coast printed it, then Amigo printed it, and then Wizards of the Coast reprinted it again just a few years ago. I have bits and pieces of all of them mixed together. There are some things about the Amigo version I like the most. There are some things about the new Wizards of the Coast. So when you look at these and look at all different components, it's a mix. The same game is basically played, but I mix the things together to try to give myself the best possible experience. Robo Rally is a game some people hate. They really do, because of the programming involved and moving around with the robots and falling off bridges, falling off into holes, conveyor belts, and so on. Other people really like it. Well, obviously I'm one of the ones who like it. Let me show you a bit about how the game works. To play Robo Rally, you can take one or more of these boards and put them together. Some of the boards are double-sided. Some of the ones there's small boards. There's boards with features in some of the sets that aren't in other of the sets. And I have lots of different boards, so I can make any kind of huge map that I want to. However, if you have any sanity alive in you at all, you will never make a huge map. This is what I recommend. I recommend taking two maps like this and putting them together, like this. And then you're going to make your race course only on half of these maps. So it's like you use one square, but it gives you a little bit of leeway in both directions. Now, what you do is you put out a certain number of flags. So we're going to say, we're going to put out 4 flags. That's usually the best way to do it. So let's say I make flag 1, start here, and then flag 2 over here. Flag 3 we'll make over here so that there's some crossing, and flag 4 here. Maybe we'll make flag 2 there. How about there? Okay, so there you have some crossings. So they got to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. It's a very simple track, but it also has crisscrossing, which I like. Each person's then going to get a robot, and there's all different kinds of funny robots in the game. I prefer the robots from the German version because they have colored bases, which makes them a whole lot easier to differentiate. And they also come with these markers. See, as soon as your robot gets to number 2, you can put your marker underneath that one in case he dies or anything happens to him. You know the last marker that he reached was number 2. Now, this game revolves around a deck of cards. It also revolves around players having this in front of them. You don't really need this in front of you, but it does help how the game plays out tremendously. What you're going to do is you're going to take a large deck of cards that have orders. These cards are going to be shuffled and dealt to each person. Each person is going to get 9 of them. And then, let's move these boards. You are going to take turns and you're going to place these cards face down in front of you in 5 different locations, depending on how you want to do them. So maybe I put that one there, and then I put this one here, and then that one, and then that one. Okay? Then everybody is going to turn over their number 1 card. And everyone's going to do their number 1 card on the board. Now this one says move 1. Now when you start, you're coming off the flag 1 and you go in any direction. So I go move 1. And then I look at the next one. It says rotate left. Now that's where my robot is. So my robot then rotates left. And then move 2. So I move forward 2. Now, the machinery on the board is going to operate every time anybody does anything. And there's all kinds of cool machinery. So after everyone moves, machinery will operate. Fast conveyor belts are going to move twice. So I'm going to move twice this direction as the arrows show. Other conveyor belts will move you. They can move you so that, let's say I landed here, and then I moved on this one, I would also rotate. If you're on one of these rotating cogs, you'll simply rotate. If you are on a laser spot, you're going to take a shot of laser damage. if you are in front of someone else. Like, for example, this robot here is facing the purple robot. Every robot has a laser mounted on the front of them, so they can shoot that one, and that robot will also take a point of damage. There are all sorts of different features on the board. You can see over here there's double lasers, so you'll take 2 damage from these spots. There's even a triple laser there. If a conveyor belt pushes you into a hole or something, you'll take damage. There's also walls on the board. Let's take a look at some of the other features on the board. There's a lot of holes and conveyor belts on this one. And here there's conveyor belts going in all different directions on that board. Here we have some smashers. These are those giant things that smash down conveyor belts for no reason. However, these don't smash down every turn. They just smash down on a specific turn. So this one's on turn 3, this one on 2 and 4. You get hit by those, you're out of the game. Then there's pushing things. You can see these bars here. They push you in that direction, and they will push you there only on certain turns. They don't go out all 5 turns. Here we have a crazy board that goes all the way down into a hole, the conveyor belt, with lasers shooting across it. Here we have flames that damage you, but they only do it on very specific terms. Here we have kind of an open board with some lasers and some more of those pushing things. On the other side, fast conveyor belt. So you can see there's a lot of similarities between the boards, but they all have their own unique feel and style. So after you move, let's say then I move forward 2, so then I look at the next card and it says rotate left. So I rotate left, and then I get moved forward 2 by the conveyor belt again. And then my last one says move forward 3, so I go 3, and then I go back 2 by the conveyor belt again. So not very useful. Now, if you move into another robot when it's your turn, then you will push that robot. So let's say orange is here, and orange moves 3 forward, 1, 2, then they hit the wall and they stop. But that can mess both the person pushing the other robot and the robot being pushed, because you don't have that, you don't know that you're going to be pushed, or maybe you can guess at it before you start going. If there's a question on who goes first, each card has a number at the top, with the higher numbers going first. So if we're both moving into the same spot, and you see this one 610 says move 1, this 800 goes before the 610. Curves go last. By the way, the different cards are move forward 1, 2, and 3, rotate left, rotate right, a U-turn, and then a back up. So players are going to continually be trying to move around. Once you pass over a flag or land on a flag at the end of one of these phases, then you get to leave your marker there and you're all good. Now as you take damage here, you'll notice that there's damage tokens on the board. Damage is not a good thing, because when you first start taking damage, instead of drawing 9 cards, you get 8 cards, then 7, then 6, then 5. But once you start taking more damage than that, you start locking part of your programs. Once I take this damage here, I can no longer use this one to put a programming card down. And so that's not a good thing. If I take enough damage, I'll be killed. I can power down on my turn and basically heal all my damage off, although you could still take damage while you're powered down. Maybe lasers shoot you, other robots run into you, etc. But that's one way to heal up your damage, but you don't do anything either. If you fall off the board or into a hole or take enough damage, you die, and you'll lose one of your life tokens. However, I highly, highly recommend you don't play this way. I've always thought life tokens is a stupid rule. Let people have unlimited lives. What does it matter if they are out of the game? Let them keep going, because the first person there, it's a race. It's not an elimination game. There are also spots on the board that if you stop on them, you heal a damage. Or here with the crossed things, you heal 2 damage. Each of the flags also has a spot to heal a damage. And I play with the variant, and it's included with some of the games, where when you stop on these, instead of healing damage, you can take a special action card. And these give you all sorts of things. For example, this Superior Archive here, when you re-enter play after being destroyed, your robot doesn't receive the normal 2 damage tokens. After you're destroyed and you come back in, you normally start with 2 damage tokens, which is annoying. You can heal them up. Here you have a Tractor Beam. When you could hit someone else with a laser, instead of hitting them, you pull them towards you. Or here, when you shoot other people with your front laser, you hit them twice. Or ramming gear, you bump into somebody, they take a damage. Or fourth gear, whenever you do a move 3, you can move 4 instead of 3. So these are pretty cool things to have, because they give you special things that nobody else has. And brakes, and a scrambler, and a high-powered laser. And so that adds a lot to the fun, and I recommend that you always play with these. You might even start with one each if you'd like, just to give your robot something special. And that's it, folks. That's how you play. You can make these races. You make a race, you see what happens, the machinery runs all the time. Hopefully you can manage to get to the end of the course before everybody else. First one to hit flag 4 is the winner. Now, like I said, this game isn't for everybody, but there's a couple things. First of all, that map I showed you should be the biggest map you ever get. In the different rule books, they're like, ooh, a course manual. And near the back of it, they'll show you things like this giant thing. It says, warning, extra boards required. And on the back here, another one. It shows 4 boards. They're really far apart from each other. Never do that. Never do those giant boards. That is insanity, and that is much of that has made people hate the game because they play these really long, pointless games. It needs to be a small, tight, short course. At the same time, some people don't like it because they have a perfect plan set up and someone else messes it up by running into them. I can sympathize with those folks as to why they don't like the game, but I love that fact. But if that's something that bothers you, to me, I try to plan. I think, okay, he's going to move this way, they're going to move that way. In fact, sometimes I'll take a long roundabout way to get to a flag just because I think nobody will mess with me that way. Then, of course, someone else does. I even have... there's other little pieces that you can put on the map. I have these doors that open at certain points. I have warp points. I almost always play with those to allow players to warp from one spot of the board to another spot. It's just cool. I almost wish that all the stuff here would move around and you could watch it. I've seen some big ones move, big setups, but I'll tell you, this game goes up to 8 people. 8 people's a lot. I don't know that I would always play with 8 people, but it's a great 6-player game. I really enjoy it. It's laughter. It's fun to see people fall off. But I would do what I said. First of all, give people unlimited lives. What does it matter? Make that board nice and tight. And I would play with the special abilities and play and try to pick some cool features of the board and have fun. It's a laugh out loud game, but at the same time, it's pretty cool because you get to program your robots and see how they work. It's a classic game for a reason, and if you can find a copy, whether it's the Amigo or the Wizards of the Coast one anywhere, I would recommend picking it up. You don't need every expansion, every board, everything, but give it a try because it is a game that's just cool. It broke a lot of ground when it came out, and I love it a lot. Robo Rally.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
There.